Hey y'all, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to another The Question Is. I know this is impromptu, but it's easier to just go live than it is to try to film it, edit it, splice it together, do all the things, and then send it out, right? This is the easiest for me to do. So I am going to read a question and I'm going to read it from my computer. This came from Joyful Mom 6. She says, how do you balance motherhood, ministry, and keeping up with your home? I have increased my time in God's ministry and feel like I'm struggling with balance. Now, I want to say this with as much care as I am able. And I tell people this quite often. I believe that the Lord has graced me to be able to balance all the things that I'm balancing. It's almost like after you learn how to juggle, right? And you become when you're first learning how to juggle, you might drop the balls. But once you learn how to juggle, right, you know how to keep all the balls in the air, and you can even juggle with one hand and you can hold two and juggle with this one and hold, right? So there is a grace that has been placed on my life to be able to do all of the things that I do. So just to clarify, I work full-time as an educator. I do YouTube full-time, even though I don't get paid full-time prices. I do social media on Facebook and Instagram full-time. I'm a minister or pastor full-time. I have an international ladies ministry that I run full-time. And I'm a mom, right? And I'm praying that God would connect me with the right person so that I can become a wife. So all of the things that we have going on over here. How do you manage it all? Well, I plan, I schedule, I make sure that I have lots of structure in my life. There are not very many things that are just random, spontaneous things. Hey, Tiff, random, spontaneous things that I do. I don't have time for that. That doesn't fit into my schedule. It really doesn't. The other thing that I have to consider, right? And I've heard another lady that was in ministry say this as well. When her children were small, she did not have the luxury or the opportunity to do as much as some other people. Her ministry at that point when she had smaller children was to be at home with her children. And I think I've had that same situation. I wasn't as much in the ministry when my kids were really small, the youngest two anyway. And as they grew, then ministry responsibilities began to open up to me. And I really didn't go full-time into ministry until about 8 years ago, and Jackson was 5 at that time, and we were already doing our homeschool journey. So I had enough time to manage the separation, the divorce, and manage the kids to get them all on track. My home was a huge thing for me when I found myself becoming a single mom. And it was the only thing that I could bring order to. So I had to bring order to the space, right? One of the ways that you can do that is downsize, declutter, get rid of some stuff. Really go through and determine, what do I need in this space and what can I do without? That is one surefire way of managing, right? We get overwhelmed in our spaces and we see so many things. Do I really need 30 pairs of shoes? Do I really, because we just gonna kick them off somewhere in the house, right? And they're gonna end up all over the place. Pick up as you go. Do many pickup sessions. My kids and I have always done a 15-minute quick clean. If that's all the time that I have, then I'm gonna need to set that timer religiously 3 or 4 different times throughout the day and get it done. For some people, that's a reality. For others, it's not. So then I monopolize on my weekends. If I don't have time to clean during the week, then I will do my best to just kind of a partial pickup. And then on Saturdays, it's all hands on deck. The cleaning basket's coming out, the praise and worship music is going on, and everybody cleaning something, right? So you have to figure out what you're able to do and not able to do. For me, I don't have a husband, so I don't have to worry about that particular portion. It's just my children. And so everybody has a responsibility that is age appropriate for caring for the home. If I could encourage all of us, especially us mothers, of one thing: the home is not just your responsibility. It is the responsibility of everybody that lays their head down in that space at night. It's the responsibility of everybody that takes a meal at your table. our house, and we are responsible for keeping our house together. Now, I will say this, and I want to say this as carefully as I can. If there are any husbands watching, you welcome. Sometimes we get so focused on date night, right? Because we got to keep the marriage spicy. We got to do all the things so we can reconnect with each other. Listen, sometimes you just have to go to your husband and say, babe, I really want to go on a date with you, but I'd rather have an hour's worth of a Molly maid to come in and do my toilets and my baseboards and things that I can't get to right now because of everything that's going on. If you can get an hour's worth of somebody coming in just to do the basic stuff that you cannot seem to get your hands on. Y'all, I have dust over the top of my door frames, and it's been there forever. I'm on vacation for the next 2 weeks. Guess what will not be there? It's that dust that I've been looking at. I have not been able to get to it. So I'm not focusing on it. I know it's there. So then I have to monopolize on my breaks. When I'm off, this is the time that I'm going to focus on this room, this space, this task, whatever. Now, the other thing, and not everybody is like me, again, it's a grace. God graces me to only need a little bit of sleep. I do not sleep a lot. 4 to 5.5, 6 hours is the maximum time that my body will sleep. My doctor says, Shakema, you need a full 8 hours. My body will not stay asleep for 8 hours. I got too much going on in my brain that needs to happen. I'm a morning person. I'm early morning. Sometimes I'm up at 4 a.m. and I may just be up. I may not get out of the bed, but because I'm working social media, I could be editing. I could be editing right there on my phone, or I could be sending out emails, or I can have a meeting with my I would have meetings with my former assistant that early because she lived in another country. And at 4 a.m., it was a good time for her to meet. So I would be up doing stuff. I sacrifice the sleep in order to get the things done that need to be done. That's just my personality. It's my body type. It's how I work. Now, about 9 o'clock, I'm like, I have done it all. I can't do nothing else. Y'all can go ahead and mind your business. I have got to live my best life and go to bed because I know the next morning at 3:30 or 4 a.m. God's going to have me up again, and then it's time to keep rolling. So for me, I'm thankful that I can do more on less sleep. That's not everybody. I can think of one particular YouTuber. She says she needs her full 10 hours. I get it. But she's also up to 1 and 2 a.m. in the morning doing things. So it's just how your particular body type works. If you are just getting started, my suggestion would be to get some rest. Leave it all, get your body in gear, and then when you have rested, get up, have your list, and start attacking your list. It is so easy to just write a list out and then cross things off because at least you feel like you're being productive. And at some point, and again, I'm using care here, your first ministry, and people will not always agree, is at your home. Your second ministry is to the church. Shakema, I'm a minister, so am I. I'm a pastor, fully ordained, licensed in 2 states. And my ministry is home. It's what I do in this house that counts. And then I can go out and minister to God's people, right? You cannot preach something you do not live. How about that? Okay, Holy Ghost, He doing all the things. Thank you. That was a download from heaven. You cannot preach what you do not live. You have to live it first, and people have to see it in you in order that it is then preached or thrown, and then somebody catches on to that revelation. So I can't tell you or show you all of the cooking videos and cleaning videos, and then on the other side of the camera that you don't see, my house is tore up. That's not a true statement for me. I've told y'all many times before, I'm not going to have a dirty house on the thumbnail just so you can come in here and see me clean. My personality won't, I wasn't raised that way, and I can't do that, right? Whoever does it, God bless them and love them. But this is my space, and this is the only place that I really may be able to have any control. And so because I only have control here, then this is what I do. And it makes me feel good. It makes my children feel better. If I had a husband, God knows, I pray that he would be appreciative of the efforts. But when I'm cooking and cleaning, I'm thinking about the people who could potentially come over and enjoy this space with my children and I. And so it is a ministry for me to be able to keep this space done. We can feel overwhelmed, but there is no overwhelming God. That's not a name that he's known by. He can do all things. He can be all places, and he knows everything at the same time. So I try to live my life such that it makes sense to me. It may not make sense to a lot of people. A lot of people say, Shakema, you just work too much. You work too much. You work too much. If I don't work, things don't get done. So for me, that's what I got to do, because God has given me a mandate. He's given me things that need to be accomplished, and I have to do that. The Bible says when you're faithful with the little, he make you Lord and ruler over much. So if I'm faithful in my house, then he may actually give me other houses to be faithful over, or he may allow me to come into your house and speak a thing that you might begin to become faithful over your space. Does that make sense? I know that kind of is like out there, but go with it, right? Because my voice is very small, and it was very small for a long time. We didn't have as many subscribers as we have now. Now God has increased our borders, and we're going out to way more people than we have in the past. And so he's calling me to still be faithful over this, and then he's gonna give me more influence outward. But if you don't live it, you can't preach it. So again, I'm training my children. My kids asked me one time, they bother my spirit sometimes. You got to pray for them. They say, Mom, who's going to clean the house when we're not here? I already know how to clean. I'm teaching you how to do it so that when you do move out, and you are moving out, because you will not be staying at mama house for your whole entire life, majoring in couchology. You got to go. When you do move out, you will then know how to care for your things. So a lot of times, especially when you have kids that are old enough to help, look of it as training. Right? I'm training you so that when you get your own, you'll know how. There's too many women out here, men included, that don't know how to care for a home. And it's because moms, we've guilt parented, and we're not able to give them everything. We can't buy them everything. We can't take them everywhere. So we just do everything for them. And then when they're on their own, they don't know how to do anything else. That is not God's plan for your life, to be so burdened down with everything and they just live in carefree. Honey, you live in rent free. Ain't no carefree up in here. I pay the mortgage and we all live together. Now, I'm not hard with my kids, right? We make it fun. We enjoy being together. I guess that's another part of it too. My kids and I enjoy being together. We enjoy, the kitchen is the hub of our home. Everything we do starts in that space. We're cooking together, and as we're cooking, we're cleaning. We came home today from church, Jackson and I. Lana wasn't feeling well, and we did a fridge clean out. Well, with fridge clean out, somebody's got to be on dishes. Somebody's got to help with the cooking. Somebody's got to help do some other things. And we just all get in there, and we know, right? We know that this is for the family. And I remember when early on, I told my kids, I sat down with my kids, and I told them as much as they needed to know for their age. I said, our life is going to look a little different. And so mom is going to need your help. And I said that to them, and my kids rose to the occasion. Can I tell you this? They did not say, no, Mom, we not helping. They did not say, well, we don't care about your situation or your circumstance, Mom. They said, okay. And that just led to us all doing things together. A lot of times I think about when my children will leave my home. I have 2 already gone, 2 still at home. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to be able to go from my place to their place to see if all this parenting I've been doing has rubbed off on them. They're going to, of course, do things their way, but somewhere in the back of my mind, I feel like the things that we have taught them, they're going to have caught, and they'll be teaching it to their children. So again, when we start looking at ministry, don't forget to minister at home, right? Because your legacy is going to come out of your 4 walls. And that's important, is that your legacy come out of your 4 walls. It's not just about what happens out there. It's what happens here that then is seen out there. Your children are the best representation of who you are. And sometimes they do act a little nuts. You got to pray for them, right? They're not perfect, and neither are we. But my whole life should be spent trying to input what they need into them so that they can then leave here and do other things. Hey, ma'am. Hey, how are you? Good to see everybody. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for chiming in. It was just a little bit easier to do this. The question is because I've got to go and do a worship night, and we have sound check at 3:30. So I'm gonna pop off here. But it was just easier than to have to try to edit it and put it all together. I may just do these video. The question is, if I don't have time to edit, I may just do them live, so you may not get a lot of pre-advance warning, and I do apologize for that. But do go back and watch the replay. We would love for you to do that. And if you have a question, just put it on that post that I typed, so that I can go back, and I'm just kind of checking them off the list as they were put on there. So this one was sent by Joyful Mom of 6G. So I'm hopeful that that is helpful. Again, prioritize the things in your life that are important. For me, my family is important. My heart is very simple. It's women, it's wives, it's mothers, and it's family. That's what God put on my heart. That's why I do so many things. Because people always say, Shakema, you need to change your name to Shakema Wilson. And I'm like, but I'm one mom and I do all the things, and God helps us. So, that's just how I live. Yes, ma'am. Catch the replay. It's perfect. I appreciate any time that you all can be here with me. Again, this was impromptu. I only had a few minutes, so I said, well, let me just jump in. Hey, ma'am. Hey, good to see everybody. But I hope that helps. So if you have a question that you want me to answer, I'm not going to do a long Q&A because sometimes people just want their question answered. So this seems to be a little bit better, and I'm going to be able to just stick them in a playlist called The Question Is, and then you all can read your question or go over and listen to your question. I'm also doing The Question Is over on Facebook. So there may be some questions that they ask that you don't see, or that you ask that they don't see. So I'm trying to navigate both of those. But if you're following me on both platforms, I did do a few questions over there that were not asked in this specific space. So anywho, I'm going to change my clothes and go and get dressed for worship night. I wore a jumpsuit to church this morning, but we're going to a different church. So I think I'm going to wear a dress and a pair of boots. So I think that's how I'm going to live this best life. But I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Shantae, I think your question is coming up next. So you'll see another installment or segment of The Question Is. I may get a chance to do it later tonight. I'm not sure. But there will be a Vlogmas video coming out later tonight. It may be a little bit later than 7, depending on what time I get out of worship night, because I didn't set it yet. It's already up. I just didn't set it or schedule it, and I don't have time to do it now. Anywho, love you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by and chiming in, and like the video, share the video, do all the things that help the video go further and people find our channel. We love you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.